Welcome back to another video. So today we have some huge news for Ahsoka Part 7, and needless to say, there will be potential spoilers, so if you want to go into the episode blind, I suggest you turn away now. Ahsoka Part 6 was a phenomenal episode, not just of this show but of live-action Star Wars more generally, but fans noticed that since Ahsoka Tano and Huyang are making their way to Peridea, we didn't see too much of Rosario Dawson in this most recent episode, but the good news is, she's got a central role in the final two. There have been a few fans on Twitter and Reddit who every week after an episode drops compile the remaining footage from teaser trailers, TV spots, just to show us what remains. Now, apart from a couple of frames which are pretty self-explanatory, the majority of what's left is in audio form, some lines we've heard in the trailers from various characters that we haven't heard in the actual show. Among these are Ahsoka's comments about enemies multiplying and that something's coming, something dark. I don't think this has been cut from the show. Some fans have been speculating this was probably in the original script, they put it into the promotional material but it's not going to manifest in the show. I disagree. I believe she's talking about what the Nightmothers are helping Thrawn with, and the catacombs, the possible clones, the Night Brothers or Night Sisters, the army of the undead. The enemies are literally multiplying. Another piece of dialogue is Ahsoka saying that she could use the help. Is she talking to Ezra Bridger when she finally gets to Peridea, or is there another ally she's going to contact first? So for what it's worth, I do believe we are going to hear this in the show, and it's going to hit the fan when Ahsoka arrives, when she comes face to face with Grand Admiral Thrawn. In typical Thrawn fashion, he asks Morgan Elsbeth to find out everything they can about Ahsoka's master, essentially her backstory, and this is interesting because he knew Anakin Skywalker. And one fan has proposed a very smart theory: when Grand Admiral Thrawn finds out that Anakin was her master, is he going to spite her in some way? Since the Ahsoka show is adapting part of Timothy Zahn's Legends work, just like in The Last Command, where Thrawn clones Luke, could he spite Ahsoka by cloning Anakin instead, in the canon version of what Filoni's doing? And speaking of him, there is more dialogue from Anakin in the trailers that we've not yet seen. And this brings me on to an article from Bespin Bulletin, who have found out that there's going to be more Anakin in the last two episodes. In fact, Hayden Christensen filmed some scenes for both. Let's dive into what they said. They say, quote, "In short, yes, we will see Anakin again, according to my sources and online rumours. Around a month ago, I had heard from sources details of Ahsoka Episode 5. Skywalker will appear in Episode 7 as well, but this time in the form of a hologram, one that's been around since the Clone Wars, and it's of Anakin during that time, similar to the one Ahsoka shows Ezra in Star Wars Rebels, when she tells him all about her master. And it's here that we hear the line that Anakin speaks in the TV spot: 'In this war you'll face more than just droids. As your master, it's my responsibility to prepare you. I won't always be there to look out for you. Don't be afraid. Trust your instincts. I know you can do this, Ahsoka.' This information was also confirmed by the same Reddit user who told us about the Noti and shared various details and accurate tidbits on the first 6 episodes so far, but they deleted their comments about Episode 7, so I guess we can't show those on screen. It's very possible Ahsoka watches this hologram on the way to Peridea. I don't think she arrives until the final episode, but she is expected to have a significant role in Part 8. According to their sources, so the final episode, the one after next week, Anakin is going to appear to Ahsoka as a Force ghost, in the same way he looked at the end of Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, and not in the world between worlds. He's going to look upon his old Padawan favourably. Could this mean we see some other Force ghosts too? Maybe Yoda, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan? We're in for 2 very exciting upcoming episodes, and just to know we're going to see some more Anakin is awesome. Although I should emphasise the majority of the scenes he filmed have been seen in Part 5, but the remaining 2 do have a few bits of Anakin here and there. I think he's going to appear to Ahsoka right at the end of Episode 8, and as I say next week, it's going to be in hologram form from the days where he trained Ahsoka when she was young. Another big rumour for Episode 7 is that we're going to see more of Harrison Jula and the New Republic as she reports to headquarters, and during these scenes there is reported to be a massive cameo, C-3PO, that's right. While R2-D2 is with Luke, 3PO is probably with Leia. We don't know if Leia is going to be in the episode, but 3PO definitely is, according to this source. So moving on, another big piece of Star Wars news, not related to Ahsoka but still huge nonetheless. Guillermo del Toro, the legendary director, reveals he was attached to direct a Star Wars film written by the Dark Knight's David S. Goyer. After years of rumours that the famed Mexican filmmaker was working on a mysterious Star Wars project, it's now been confirmed this was in the works. In an episode of Happy Sad Confused, the podcast, David Goyer confirmed he did write a Star Wars movie, which was going to be directed by Guillermo del Toro, and the latter confirmed in a new post on Twitter, this was going to be about Jabba the Hutt. This may raise a few eyebrows, but in the context of del Toro's work, maybe even horror, set on Tatooine, could have been awesome, and I've seen a lot of Star Wars fans respond to this news with a lot of positivity, yearning for what could have been if this were to happen. In 2018, details emerged about a rumoured, mysterious Star Wars film, which was in early development at Pinewood Studios. This had nothing to do with the sequel trilogy, but was unfortunately scrapped due to the commercial failure of Solo: A Star Wars Story, and Lucasfilm cancelling plans for more Star Wars story films. This included the cancellation of Obi-Wan Kenobi as a movie trilogy, and the Boba Fett movie as well. These projects became the Disney Plus shows that we know. The movie first mentioned by making Star Wars featured Mos Eisley Spaceport, and in the years that followed, they shared on various podcasts that they believed the film was going to be directed by Del Toro. We now know this was going to be a Jabba the Hutt movie thanks to a new post on Twitter where the director said can't say too much, maybe 2 letters, J and BB. Is that 3 letters? The legendary giant slug, and whose story's been expanded across the years in novels, in comics, and whose legacy after his death is being explored in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. When David was asked why the film was not produced, he simply told the podcast there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes at Lucasfilm, a reshuffling of plans, which included other films being cut as well, but he did suggest the script was insane. And he suggested to Happy Sad Confused that they get Guillermo on the show and ask him the same questions, get his point of view. I can envision him creating one of the most artistically proficient and stunning Star Wars movies ever. And when you think about how a film like this could be marketed, Jabba the Hutt to both casuals and diehards is a very intriguing centre point. One of the most pivotal villains of the original trilogy, he appeared in The Phantom Menace, also The Clone Wars. There is so much to explore with this character and those he came across. Greedo, Han Solo, Chrysanthemum. They could do a Rise of Jabba the Hutt sort of film where it focuses on his early years. I would definitely be down for a movie like this. What do you guys think? And so finally, my dear friends, going back to Ahsoka, we have some fantastic new character posters for Ezra, Captain Enoch, the Nightmothers, and Grand Admiral Thrawn. And unfortunately, there's been a lot of vitriol towards the way he looks in live action. Some have commented on Lars Mikkelsen's physique, or the way they did his makeup, or even his height. I'm serious. People have been making a fuss about the 1-inch height difference between canon and the way he looks in Ahsoka, and it's a ridiculous criticism. Personally, I don't understand it. I thought Mikkelsen was great. He's got the swing and swagger, his intonation and demeanour, all match to perfection what you want for Thrawn at this time. He is not a young chiss at this point in the timeline, and he's been out in Peridea for years. We've seen the same complaints about so many other characters, Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, Natasha as Sabine. I've said it before and I'll say it again, cartoon characters do not look like real human beings. They're not going to look the same as they did in Rebels. But anyway, my dear friends, share your thoughts on all of today's news in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this one, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.